an introduction here, and all the clips I'll try to keep under 3 minutes long. And you won't need to listen to this whole upload that I suppose will be upwards of 2 hours long. In the description box will be segments like chapters, like in a book, to different subjects. There'll be timestamps so you can jump to whatever might interest you. I'll get at least one video response to this commentary, I'm sure. And they'll figure that posting or uploading videos is how they can disprove naysayers like myself. Doing what they say they're about is off the table, no. Hosting a Google Hangout is how they'll demonstrate that they mean what they say. As I go along, you'll hear more about what my problem is with this garbage about separation. It's stupid. Mainly because of the kind of people that propagate this madness. In many ways, these extra black power people are out of their minds. And more than mainly, or before mainly, my issue with this is that it's not a solution for black people as they try to pass it off as. We'll hear more why it's not a solution as I go on. Their thing is to become migrants instead of standing tall here with their people. Many are just hustling too.
Batman. Can somebody tell me what kind of a world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all of my press? This town needs an enema.
I've played that clip before, and I suppose I'll play it again in the future. But you heard the Joker there with the nerve to question a bat costume while he looks like he looks, though. He said the Batman was getting all of his press. You heard him hating on the Batman for getting more media attention than him. The deception in that. You have these different imitation black liberation people on here attacking each other as if they're not part of that fake liberation circle, calling others frauds, liars, and thieves. I've listened to many of them over the years describe themselves as something new or different than the rest. New or different from the nearly 200 years this separation from America discussion has been on the table. They just got here is what they want people to believe. But to be clear, one of my problems is not people who want to run off somewhere. I say go for it. But something that I won't address in this commentary. I'll wait for it. Maybe have some fun responding to it when it comes or when it happens. And that is the everybody can't be saved thing. That obvious reality right there. I'll wait for somebody to include that in their response. Now, not all of them are the same. They even fight each other over separation, how to do it, where to do it, and the rest. Some believe that we need to leave America and create a government, a nation somewhere else. Some say just leave America. Some say build a separate nation here. Some say acquire some land and merely live separately. Some say live all natural where they separate, starting fire with rocks and sticks. Some say farm life. Some say separate but with all the modern accessories. They're different, but all have lost their minds. And you'll hear why as I go on. Now, you're discussing the future of black people. Strangers to you and you to us. But you get attitudes about people getting after y'all for feeling that you're the ones who knows best for people who you don't know. That applies to me and whoever else who be on here like we determining the fate of people who we don't know. You don't get to come on here acting like because your idea is so flawless and pure that people have no reason to look sideways at y'all and it.
tell me something? What do you know about Wakanda? It's a third world country. Textiles, shepherds, cool outfits, all a front. Explorers have searched for it. Called it El Dorado. They looked for it in South America. But it was in Africa the whole time. The world is changing. Soon, there will only be the conquered and the conquerors. Step into the spotlight. And it's hard for a good man to be a king.
And we are all here, all over this nation, not in one place or two places or 3 or 4 places, all over this nation, and that is how it will remain, and y'all know it. So a question I posed a few times over the years about this separation delusion, and I've got no answer. And it's not really a question, but a big statement in the form of questions. I've asked, who are you? That's for the we need to separate people. Who are you? Which one are you? I asked because it seems that y'all feel all you need to be is a good idea.
More than 30 dead in the Caribbean, and Hurricane Maria's destructive impact is not over yet. After ravaging the U.S. island territory of Puerto Rico, tens of thousands of people there are now at risk from flash flooding from a failing dam.
The storm hit 2,000 kilometres from here, but it's at Orlando's international airport where one of 3 disaster relief centres is providing care and aid for newly arrived Puerto Ricans. The island and homeland they left is still largely without electricity. Freshwater supplies are dwindling, and heading to the US mainland is the only option for many.
It's a day by day, so for us over here, it's our hearts are with them because we wish we could do more, but we can't because, you know, we cannot get power to them or anything.
The economic crisis in Puerto Rico has already prompted hundreds of thousands of residents to leave to find jobs. The aftermath of Hurricane Maria is likely to force many more to follow. In the last few days alone, 30,000 Puerto Ricans have arrived here in Orlando. Statewide, that number could exceed 100,000.
Rebecca Salama says many of her neighbours have been killed or raped in recent weeks. Armed groups keep attacking her village in the Democratic Republic of Congo. That's why she's walked here to neighbouring Uganda with her family. They're met by Ugandan soldiers near the border.
When you go to pick your crops or go to the forest for firewood, if you're a man, they kill you. And if you're a woman, they'll rape you. That's why we came here.
Along with other new arrivals, Rebecca continues her journey in a UN truck. The UN says more than 10,000 people have arrived here in the last month, fleeing a spike in violence at home. Everyone we spoke to says they don't know which armed groups are attacking them or why. They say the fighters carry guns, wear uniforms and speak languages from all over Congo and neighbouring Rwanda.
Hundreds of Venezuelans stand in line for up to 7 hours. They wait for a wire transfer that will help them endure the economic crisis back home.
You might think that we are happy to come here and receive a little money, but instead it's very sad knowing that we can't afford the basic things we need.
Venezuelans can't receive remittances at home due to the exchange controls imposed by the government of President Nicolás Maduro. They use the money to buy basic items or ever more often bus tickets to reach those who already left in search of a better life.
I'm here to go to Peru with my son. My husband is already there. He saved for 4 months to pay for our tickets. We wanted to stay in Venezuela, but it's becoming impossible.
Some stay in Colombia, but increasing numbers continue to other South American countries where it might be easier to find work. The number of buses leaving the station for the Ecuadorian border, the next stop on these migrants' journey, has passed from 6 or 7 a week to more than 70 every single day.
Are you famine or drought? Are you a civil war like the Rwandan genocide, like 1 million lives taken? Are you a natural disaster like a flood or a hurricane? Are you an act of government like the establishing of Liberia? Or are you a high-ranking government official like Fidel Castro with the Cuban boat lift where he shipped thousands of people out of Cuba? Are you like General Motors, big as them, who had black people migrating there from all over the country for jobs and overall a better way of living? Like in the movie Grapes of Wrath, where they migrated because of the Depression. Are you economic crisis? What are you? The separate Negro. Are you the size of these things that offered the same promises that caused these people to migrate? Are you a few $1 billion that it would take to relocate that many people? Are you bloodbath that it took for many nations to finally call itself a nation? Y'all must think you're Tyler Perry, who went from sleeping in his car to the big time. Are you Tyler Perry? The only time I've heard of everybody leaving was in the book of Exodus when Moses led the people out of Egypt. So are you an act of a God? It would take these things to bring about this fleeing that y'all are talking about, this running away that y'all claim y'all want to do. Which one are you? Now, those statements are to question the power of these people because they do not possess the capability to bring about what they're claiming to want to see.
Hey, Toby, look what I got from the kitchen. I got... Damn you, nigga. Didn't you think nothing about me?
About you, Fiddler?
Yeah, me. Me. You go running off in the hills, you know what's gonna happen to me? I get to sleep on a mud floor. I get to eat what the pigs won't eat.
Fiddler want me to stay?
No. You can't stay now, not with them broke off chains. Oh, you done it to it now. You done it. So you got to go right now.
Chains ain't right for nigga, Fiddler.
Be free, African. What it like? Must be something special.
Nah, I don't want y'all to stay either. Break your chains off and get going is my position. But having always been a slave, Fiddler asked because Toby knew of something Fiddler didn't. These people on here talking about this freedom, independent stuff. They know nothing of what they talk about. But they talk so much of it. So their identity is what to question. And I don't mean their government name and birth date and social security number. Who are they? They don't even have the mental capacity to do it. Nobody can stand there with the microphone like y'all doing, talking about we need to go and have people just go, is why I pose those different scenarios.
Gentlemen, in exactly 5 days, we will be $100 billion richer.
Y'all are not even independents. Because when I listen to what y'all claim to want, it's in sync with the greed that's already here. But countries were established and are maintained with blood. Jews had to kick people off the land to have Israel. So is your name displacement? Mexico had to war with this country to maintain and even acquire more of what we know as South America. North Korea, plenty of blood to have that. Same with South Korea. China, blood in the streets. Japan, same thing. Robert Mugabe, much blood spilled to have that go from Rhodesia to Zimbabwe. So I'll ask rhetorically again. Who are you? Are you blood spill?
Barely. This is crazy. It's absolutely incredible. So hard. This has to be five inches an hour.
I've played that in a few videos before, and I call it blinded by white. White people are used to pull off these deceptions. All kinds of fraud from our black power figurines come by way of them throwing white people in black people's faces. We're so oppressed and targeted by white people. We're second-class citizens. We're not citizens at all. We're slaves. We're on the bottom of the totem pole in society. They're shooting us down in the street, and they're mass incarcerating us and all the rest. That preps people for the various schemes of these hustlers. You'll be open for just about anything for listening to too much of them beat you over the head with white people. White people are the main tool that all of these snake oil salesmen utilize. And that enables our black power people to come in as our saviors. All sides will use white people as weapons and deterrents against the other side's ideas. You can't build there. The white man will stop you. The same ones that will tell other people that will get mad if you tell them that white people will stop them here.
People look at you today, 20 years later, and they still have no idea what you're about. Tell me in a sentence who you are.
Nobody. I'm nobody. I'm a tramp, a bum, a hobo. I'm a boxcar and a jug of wine. And a straight razor if you get too close to me.
But when it's convenient, all sides will make what they call white supremacy a non-factor in their dreams of a separate black place. And out of convenience, they'll make white supremacy the almighty stopper of progress when they want to try and scare the other side away from their dreams of a separation. It's crazy. How can you call other people scared of white people or having a defeated mentality because of white people, even though the very thing that's motivating all sides to want to become runaways is white people and what white people is doing? It's crazy.
And so I'm saying that's why the drip was signed by an African. How can an African sign a drip? The drip is the civil rights movement. So if you say that you Aboriginal, you black. You see what I'm saying? So that takes you out of law. So all of it is a lie. And all these islanders are new people. They ain't even from here. Their mothers didn't even have them here, so they have no. And yeah, we ain't nobody complaining, man. You can't take me to jail for nothing, bro. Don't disrespect me like that. I'm live on TV, bro. You want to be like, hey, we live on TV. You can't take me to jail for nothing. You came in up on me. Don't say you're the probation officer. You can't take me to jail for nothing. I don't care. Don't talk to me. I ain't doing nothing wrong. You ain't gonna do nothing to me. I'm allowed to be out here. You ain't gonna do nothing to me. Yeah, hold on. You gonna take me to jail or not? What you mean? Take me to jail and you ain't. I'm allowed to be out here. Hold on. Let's get through this right now. If you saying I'm not allowed to be on public property, take me to jail. What, I'm allowed to be out here using this internet because I work right over here. They said I could come over here and do this.
Sir, I'm asking you to leave one more time.
Who? From who? From who, sir? From who, sir? I ain't do nothing wrong.
Sir,
I ain't do nothing wrong. I ain't do nothing wrong. You on national TV. You on national. Well, I'm right here. I ain't on your property no more now. Now, I'm not on your property. Leave me alone. Now, leave me alone. I ain't on your property. I'm not on your property no more. Now, look at me. I'm not on your property. Thank you for not being on your property. There ain't been nobody out here saying nothing to me. So quit lying with you a police officer. Protect and serve the property. Yeah, so go ahead then. I ain't on your property. See, this is how you really stand up for your rights. He just coming out here being mad for no reason. Beat it, man. See, that's what being a Moor is. That's all they want to do is try to take you to jail. You the immigrant. I ain't no immigrant. I'm from these lands. I'm a native. Quit telling me I'm not allowed to be out here doing what I want to do. Gonna tell me I can't leave when you take me to jail. All you got to do is walk right across the street. Keep doing what you do. Practice your rights. I was on private property, so I had to go across the street. Gonna tell me I'm cussing. It ain't illegal to cuss, man. Yeah, it is not. Oh, that woman over there, she wasn't even here. Okay, ma'am, I'm over here. Take your, don't even talk to me, woman. Look, now here go another woman. Look at this woman. Okay, I'm across the street. I'm not here, ma'am. You called the police when you was leaving. Are you serious? This is America, beautiful. Have a good day, beautiful. It's beautiful out here. And like I said, y'all, that's how you know what I'm saying? You saying that I'm being funny. Yes, I am a Moor. I'm standing up for my rights. They can't just tell me to leave nowhere. I'm allowed to talk. This is a freedom of rights. Man, so what? You can't catch me now. Now. So what, motherfucker? You can't catch me. So what? I'm allowed to cuss now, bitch. Shut up, bitch.
The freedom of rights, he said. That was hilarious when I first saw it. I fell out my seat when I was watching that. I saw it live when it was happening, too. But the deception they put out there has no regard for the current law. You heard him. He said he stood up for his rights. Right after he ran twice. These we need to separate people cast this illusion of immunity from the law. Here they say we need permission to, from white people to do this, and we need permission to do that. Because in their black separate nation, you won't need permission. You can just do whatever you want whenever you want to do it. And this is my problem with the we need to separate garbage.
Mr. President, Excellencies, I will not read my statement because I will then repeat what the other leaders have said. Point number one, I thank President Obama for convening this special session of the Security Council to discuss this very important topic. Secondly, it is clear that the possession of nuclear weapons is the main cause of other countries wanting to acquire nuclear weapons. Now, finally, I want to inform this Security Council that Africa is interested not in nuclear weapons, but in nuclear energy.
That was the president of Uganda, still needing permission. Had to ensure other powers that he wouldn't make weapons out of the stuff. But these folks sell this idea of not having to adhere to such things, even though they talk about themselves being involved in world trade. And they get to do this with the way they blind folks with white people.
Hi, I want to make a quick video here about what is going on in South Africa right now. And what I don't even understand is South Africa, of all people, South Africa, a nation that, all of us fight for the right of South Africans. We, especially we the Africans, we fight for you South Africans, for you guys today to be who you are. But today you South Africans, some of you South Africans have nothing to pay with the Africans, but to kill with the Africans and accusing us of taking your jobs. How embarrassing is that? How disgusting is that? Can you just open your mouth and say, I'm going to kill my fellow human being because of he's taking my job? How embarrassing. What are you going to tell God the day of judgment? God, I killed this person because he was taking my job. What? Oh my God. I just cannot understand this. And who are you guys killing? You guys are killing your fellow black people. Your fellow black people. Those are the people you guys are killing, burning them on the street. You are burning black people on the street. What the fuck did you guys think you guys are doing? You guys can bring a civil war today. Because if some Africans need, they can go and attack all the South Africans and butcher them, just like what the fuck you guys are doing right now in your country. Do you think we cannot do it? We can do it. We can also do it. But what I want you South Africans to know is today the enjoyment that you guys are going through is because of us. How many white people are in South Africa who are doing business? Do you kill white people? No. Oh my God. Do you kill white people? You don't kill no white people. And there are thousands of white people who are there today. They open their own business just like Africans. Did you kill those people? No. Who are you killing? Your own black brothers and sisters. How disgusting is that? You are killing your own black brother? There are thousands of white people who open a business in South Africa right now. Thousands of white people.
That was an African cop over there. Not going to kill no white people. Oh my God, he said. The same mindset of not wanting to fight white people they have over there already. But you want to take that mindset over there only to add to it. You don't want to fight with white people here. You want to tuck tail. Militant abandonment, I call it. And that's fine. But what's not fine about y'all wanting to haul ass is y'all presented to people as being a way to fight back and claiming that other people are scared of white people. The deception is in their description of this paradise, free of corruption. It's magnificent how they'll describe these proposed black Edens of strength and wholesomeness. How you can control your own. They'll take incidences like a police shooting and they'll say, see, if you were in control of your own socio-geopolitical economic outlook of your own paradigm, then things like that wouldn't happen. They'll promise that people will have complete autonomy over their black government free of corruption. True freedom, they call it. Sensationalism. So how could people dare reject such a noble idea, such a revolutionary concept?
I'm Nicholas Christoph in Angola. Jose Chivango has just died in front of his mother and grandmother. A foreign doctor tries to revive Jose, but it's too late. Nurses are helpless. 16,000 children die every day worldwide, and most cases are preventable. Nowhere is it worse than Angola. This is the deadliest country in the world for kids, and yet the government has just cut the health budget by 30%. At a sunset dance party in the capital, Luanda, you'd never know there's a health crisis here. And that's the crazy part. This country is actually filthy rich, flush with oil and diamonds. The real problem is it's just spectacularly corrupt. Officials here spend $50 million a year on luxury cars alone. Judges here get Jaguars to drive, as kids perish at the highest rate in the world. Just 30 minutes from the presidential mansion. This road leads to a hospital serving 500,000 people. Like many hospitals I visited, it's impeccably clean and modern. The only thing missing? Doctors. There are 5 mothers here with urgent cases of children who are very sick. 4 of the 5 have already lost other children. Almost all of the cases here are preventable. No detectable hemoglobin? Wow. and the staff was clueless. I was shocked that this nurse didn't know that Marcelina's reddish hair is an obvious sign of malnutrition. Here's my diagnosis. It's easier for officials to steal money by commissioning a big, expensive hospital. Training staff, on the other hand, doesn't offer that kind of payday. President Jose dos Santos has ruled for 36 years through a brutal civil war that ended in 2002. He's used the country's oil wealth to enrich his cronies as kids die. But I know the president cares about at least one child. After all, he turned his daughter, Isabel, into Africa's youngest billionaire. Both of them ignored my interview requests. But if you want the government's perspective on how things are going here, look at this poster. It's a warning about junk food on the walls of many public hospitals, and it's hanging above kids dying of malnutrition.
Angola, rich oil country, diamonds? How can this be?
The government won't spend the money to make it change.
I played that to reiterate their sales pitch about creating a dark-faced Eden. Just get away from white people and we made it. The nations over there are corrupt to the core, and these are the people that they'll need to get in bed with in order to even be considered to start a nation. That whole place over there is plugged into what you say you want to tuck tail and retreat from here. But the descriptions that they give for these places are absolutely gorgeous. And with these magnificent pictures they paint, they'll use that as a shield when they are challenged about how ridiculous their ideas actually are. Why don't you want your own? We want our own, and you have a problem with that. You love your massa. You love the scraps off your massa's table. You love America. These people believe that if you're not the governor, sheriff, president, or the face in the seat of authority, then you have no power. But they won't have the citizens of these imaginary black nations all be in the seats of authority either. The deception in that, to suggest that you will be in control of your own in these new black sanctuaries.
Currently, a number of Korean companies have set foot in Africa to promote mutually beneficial economic cooperation by creating jobs and transferring technologies. If Africa's abundant human and natural resources are combined with Korea's technology and capital, tremendous synergies can be produced, benefiting the African economy in real terms. The mobile money service, which has recently been spreading throughout Africa, is testament to the fact that Africa is not limiting itself to traditional industries.
Human resources they refer to Africans as. And if you look here on the internet, search for yourself. These Asian countries are taking Africa back to apartheid with their racism and beatings of Africans and outright blatant discrimination in hiring practices. They're undercutting African prices on goods, which is creating mass unemployment in these countries and the rest. Or we need to separate people, sell the idea that they'll be a part and immune to the selling out over there. Y'all pretend that what goes on in neighboring countries won't spill over into your garden of black purity. You're not going to physically bully your way into nothing over there, especially into any unoccupied land. You have no might to do so, and therefore, in order to get anything, you will have to submit yourselves to the government that governs those unoccupied lands. And in your submission, you will become the very traps and chains that they have on them already. And I'm telling y'all what you already know, because you like to paint a picture that everything here in America is dark and ugly, but you won't paint your fictitious, non-existent black nations as being the bondage that it would be.
I'm sure you will agree with me that we give him a round of applause. A round of applause. Here is a man. Here is a man representing a country once called poor. A country which never was our colonizer. But there you are. He is doing to us what we expected those who colonized us yesterday to do. We will say he's a God-sent person. May God bless China and its people. I am deeply honored to address this historic second summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC. On behalf of the African Union, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to our hosts for the warm welcome and hospitality extended to us. That the second summit is a clear demonstration of the friendship, mutual respect, and understanding between African countries and China. I therefore take this opportunity to express our sincere and profound gratitude. Once again, our detractors have sought to portray and reduce our relations to purely commercial ties, driven, in their view, as they say, by China's appetite for and desire to extract raw materials from our continent. That's what they say.
Although removed from rulership a short while back, it still goes on. What you heard Mugabe say there was their new colonizers, China, won't treat them as badly as the white and European colonizers are doing. He said we sold out our countries to the wrong people yesterday, but these new colonizers we sold the countries to are different. Said the Chinese president is God sent. Again, search for yourself to see the brutality upon the Africans there and the destruction of the land that Mugabe said is a lie in an attempt to miscategorize what's going on over there.
Police in South Africa are defending their killing of 34 miners yesterday. Video of the incident has shocked people around the world. The police say they were confronted by a mob of several thousand workers, many of them armed, and had little choice but to open fire. The CBC's David Common now, and a warning, the video is disturbing.
The deadly shooting of the 34 striking miners came after weeks of rising tensions. South Africa's worst incident of police brutality since the apartheid era exposes a society badly fractured by the volatile combination of ongoing poverty, labor militancy, and an increasingly angry population.
We condemn this anarchy, this criminal behavior, where people can easily take a life of a person without engaging in dialogue.
The miners had demanded a more than doubling of their meager wages, striking and attacking the huge police presence with clubs and bars. When they charged police yesterday, officers responded not with the usual rubber bullets and stun grenades, but live ammunition.
The militant group stormed towards the police, firing shots and wielding dangerous weapons. Police retreated systematically and were forced to utilize maximum force to defend themselves.
The testimony of the brutality of the police is even more horrific than the act itself, it seems like sometimes. But I played that clip in regards to the we need to separate people, citing police lawlessness in America as a reason we should relocate to Africa. So you want us to get away from white people, huh? Never mind the systematic targeting of their own people that African rulers engage in. Never mind that. Like the dark Africans shooting down their people right alongside and at the command of white Africans. You sell this illusion of blackface wholesome goodness in Africa. If only the people who ruled were dark-skinned and not white-skinned like here in America is the dream you sell. The illusion you cast.
A typical day in Mogadishu's Medina hospital. A roadside bomb has just exploded near a minibus. Troops of the African peacekeeping mission in Somalia, AMISOM, also stand accused of indiscriminately shelling civilian areas. They deny this claim.
There's some fire coming back in this direction. some of that was coming in this direction. Bullets rain on the Ugandans. This is the main shopping street in the town of Koriole. But civilians suffer more. This woman's family was hit by a mortar round. She's the only surviving member. Very soon the annual rains will come and these big machines of war will be bogged down. Then Al-Shabaab will surely regroup to fight, albeit in a more distant part of what often feels like an ungovernable country.
More than 1.5 million people have fled Mogadishu in the past 2 years. It's those who can't afford to run who are left in this city of death. For them, the battle to survive is a constant one.
Black people tried to return to Tulsa after they were invaded. But what stopped them from rebuilding is the government conjured up a law that said that they couldn't build on land where there was recently a fire. Just made that law up on the spot. Made it up out of thin air. Point is, black people, they still tried to return when the coast was clear and the dust settled. But you people still ignorantly believe that hardship is what should make people separate. Hell here hasn't even prompted you to separate, but you think you make sense to tell other people to leave when you won't. Saying black people should leave because it's hell here is like telling a person that they should just up and quit their job. Factoring in reasonability is what I'm talking about. Yes, your job is ass and you hate it, but you can't just pick up and go, can you? No.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm just sitting here. I'm actually hanging out with my son today. He's finished up. It's his last day of kindergarten, so they had a little field trip, so Logan and I decided to come join him today. Guys, I'm just sitting out here just thinking about how awesome it is and how blessed I feel to be able to really to do this with him, to kind of spend time in the middle of the day with him without having to take leave, without having to see if I can take off work. You know, guys, I'm coming up on like my 1 year anniversary of actually when I left my 9-to-5 job. It was actually like a 6 to 2, 6 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. But coming up on my 1 year anniversary, and I will say this, I really wanted to make that move. I made it last summer. I really wanted to make that move probably 2 or 3 years before I actually did it. And the one reason I did not do it was because of fear. I was scared, I have a mortgage, married, have my children, and as, the leader of a household, I just did not want to let them down. So I was just really paralyzed by fear. I used to hear people talk about that so much.
He said he wanted to do it 3 years before he actually did it. After all that's happened here with us, you still believe that telling us it's bad here would be the determining factor in people leaving. They don't understand the nature of human beings is my problem with their solution. Look at the war-torn places like Mogadishu. They don't just leave. And they live in conditions that are more harsh than what we live with the police and shootings and whatnot here. They walk past dead bodies. They live with warlords. So bad conditions are not the determining factor that would make people just up and go. And y'all provide no means for people to do that. Just separate thing you're talking about. You don't provide no means to do that. Y'all are not civil war, so who are you?
It's not fair! Why'd I get the smaller half? Why'd he get the bigger laugh? Why can't I have a pet giraffe? It's not fair! Why can't I have curly locks?
Why can't I have my own box?
Why now, chicken pox? It's not fair.
Everybody else has their own nation, so why can't we have our own like everybody else? Listen, what everybody else got is a position or a place in this mess with the rest of us on earth. Our own means nothing but a desire to be the face on some currency that will be monitored by the World Bank and Wall Street. But y'all offered no guarantee of anything. No freedom, no independence, no better life, no nothing you say is guaranteed. But y'all must think that what y'all suggest is a guarantee for y'all to call people Sambos, coons, bedwench, mammy, Negro peons for rejecting y'all's fake theory. You must believe it's a guarantee and perfect to say that separation is the only solution, and I've heard many of you say that. Then they'll tell you that their plans are secret. Y'all's defenses are looking really sloppy.
Roberts over the top again. And he drops it in beautifully. Jalen Robinette. Touchdown Air Force. Rare eye look for Air Force. They pass out of it. Open man, the tight end, Griffin. Another big hit for the Falcons. Roberts, sideline again, McVay. Wide open players all night long for Air Force. Wide open players all night long for Air Force.
Y'all's proposals are wide open, but y'all get mad at people classifying what you have put forth as stupid. Your plans are riddled with holes, but have secret fillings, you say.
Hand off its Pryor. Lot of real estate to the 30. Pryor is off and running. Inside Steelers territory. 20, 10, and Pryor is in. 93 yards. And the Raiders storming out of the gate.
Well, you see the fake. Of course, it's going to draw the action. You see the squeeze. No one accounted for Terrell Pryor. And once he gets in the open field, no one's going to bring him down from behind. No one accounted for Terrell Pryor. And no one accounted for Terrell Pryor. And
you have gaps to fill. And it is not the responsibility of detractors like myself to help your argument. It is only for us to exploit every hole y'all leave open. Let me show you something.
Separation is a choice. Separation is when a group of people get together and say, we are no longer going to participate in this. And then they sit down and they make a plan as to where they want to go and what they want to do. So we've seen something like this. We've seen the mass exodus of the Somali people in Minnesota right now. They have the highest concentration of immigrated people ever. All the Somalis got together. They said, we are out of Somalia. There's too much fighting going on. We are leaving. They did their work. They looked at what states within the United States would be able to hold a large population. And then they all came, and they came at once. They played their cards, and their cards were right. And when they came over to Minnesota, Minnesota had the resources. Minnesota was a liberal state, so it didn't turn them away, and everybody was able to eat. Now there are several successful Somali businesses and things like that within Minnesota. They're doing very well. They're doing better than they were in Somalia.
Says it was a good idea that they fled their country.
What I'm seeing here is we have a white supremacist president who openly accepted money from the KKK for his platform when he was running. So we have this white supremacist president who seems to be moving back towards, we want the racial purity in America. We want the racial purity back into America. Now, when I say that, a lot of people won't take it seriously. A lot of the Jews didn't take it seriously. So now we have this situation with immigration where it seems like they're wanting the racial purity back into America. Those that stay behind, those that aren't smart enough to leave, may end up back in slavery. Those, I'm gonna say it again, those that stay behind, those that are not smart enough to leave, may end up back in a slavery type situation.
And people say, well, that would never happen. It's 2018, it's this and that and the other. But our people aren't organized.
But minutes later, turns right around and says that those of us who remain here in the United States will become slaves. And that was an example of the many exploitable holes in what y'all say. Because y'all are so desperate to evade our circumstances instead of confronting them, y'all are incomplete, contradictory, hypocritical, unreasonable, and inconsistent. Wide open for the touchdown. So don't blame people like me for the lack of sense that y'all make. Also, people can see that y'all have nothing more than what the rest of us have, which is the ability to speak and the possibility to convince people to see it your way. So when y'all talk this stuff that would take immense power, that raises eyebrows. You get to be questioned and challenged. Y'all could have more power than the average person, but you squander it. And one of the many ways y'all squander it is that y'all are scattered all over the place in your thinking and divisiveness.
Chocolate.
Peanut butter.
Hey!
Oh, hey, you got your chocolate in my peanut butter.
Peanut butter on my chocolate.
What? Delicious.
Two great tastes that taste great together. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Real milk chocolate, delicious peanut butter.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
And Reese's Crunchy Peanut Butter Cups, topped with chopped peanuts.
So y'all must be planning on being like the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup commercial where y'all gonna be doing this big worldwide thing by accident. Now, I'm not saying small people can't become big. That would be crazy. We know rags to riches stories, or like a small YouTube people that did something big that went viral, and the next thing you know, they're being interviewed on the Today Show. But I am saying that y'all are small, and y'all do and say things that will keep you that way. And y'all are not for real anyway, which will most definitely keep y'all away from where y'all pretend you want to be. And don't get it twisted. I am not asking to hear your detailed plans. Y'all have already provided me with all I need to work with. And I already know that y'all are nothing but dream weavers and snake oil salesmen anyway. And I have already heard and seen all I need to know about y'all.
Chapter 6. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply in the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them.
A comment that I posted some years ago that got me a few LOLs, even though I was dead serious. I said something that I thought would sound serious, but instead they found it funny. And what I said was, if I were the God that created this place, left, then came back to see what we did here, I'd destroy all humans and everything humans created. But maybe I'd just leave the animals here to go back to what they used to do and where they used to live before humans and modern mechanized society came along. That was funny to people. When Barack Obama was elected, he bailed out the corporations. And today those corporations are engaging in the same behavior that had them go bankrupt in the first place. Because although they were bailed out, their mentality hadn't changed. So this conclusion that people have drawn of getting back to nature and living like the people who live out in the wilderness, it reminds me of the saying, in theory, but in practice. Or in other words, it sounds good, but it actually being able to happen is beyond far-fetched. Because in order for people to live in the wilderness, what would be needed is some divine intervention where all untouched people who have not been contaminated with our modern traps take them and maybe raise them above the earth or build an ark and flood the place or set the earth on fire. Then refurbish the earth, then set the people back on earth. But before they get set back down, every modern man, woman, and child would need to be killed, including all modern structures and technology. And if they have knowledge of how to build our modern things, they'd have to go.
Everyone, I need you to stay back. It is not safe.
What is that?
The movie The Blob, because it just blows my mind to hear people talk about how what they call white supremacy seeks to dominate the earth. They'll turn right around and suggest that they are somewhere to hide from it. One of the reasons I don't call this place white supremacy, I'll give it this proper description of imperialism. And one of the reasons is this notion that the aim should be to get away from white faces. This ignores imperialism, which seeks to dominate the globe. This notion to not see white faces is casting an illusion. Because to live this kind of life, you must first stop what you seek to run from. More faces than white faces are involved in this thing. The globe. I hear y'all even talk about the need for weapons and ammunition. For that blob you want to run from, right? But when it comes, right? Hear her respond to someone in the chat room.
So that's where I've been. I've had to do I've been having an existential crisis. I've been having, I needed some goddamn peyote and just go in. But CH says, too bad we can't just leave and make our own Wakanda somewhere. We can't. We have to fight where we are. We have to fight right here because the aggression and dominance has no limit, and they'll follow us. No matter where you go, you're going to be followed with their aggressive, dominant, overly aggressive, overly dominant behavior.
Yeah, I know. There is no running away, especially when what you want people to run from is already in the area where you want people to run to. Has no limit, she said. That's how I see it too. So that's my problem with this separation solution. I've heard this separation thing described as being for like-minded people. I've heard a lot of that from almost all of the separate-minded people. Y'all are not talking about separation for black people as in the population and citizens. You're only talking about separation for a few people. Because how many would actually just pick up and go? 100 people? 200 people? 500 people? Or let's just say 2,000 people. That still leaves millions. So you're not talking about separation for black people. You're not talking about a solution for black people either. You're talking about something that maybe 20, 50 to 100 people can go off and do maybe. So how can you put separation out as a solution for black people when you know that we're not going anywhere?
You've got Amish all over the state of Ohio right now, and Pennsylvania and Indiana, that are concerned. We've received hundreds and hundreds of calls, people living in fear. They're buying mace. Some are sitting with shotguns, getting locks on their doors. We cannot categorize all the Amish as we do Sam Mullet. Because as far as I'm concerned, he's not Amish. He dresses as Amish. And all these crimes that he's been involved in or had people commit crimes for him, it's not the Amish way, and it's not religion. It's not religion to have your own daughters beat your wife, beat their mother. That's not religious. That's not Amish religion. It's not Amish to sit there and watch children that have been sexually abused, a 12-year-old girl being brutalized and raped. That's not Amish religion.
In our tradition, such differences, to the extent that they're solved or talked about, are debated by theologians and argued about passionately, but they are not resolved by late-night visits to people's homes with weapons and violent attacks. But the charges do charge that the attacks are motivated religiously. Steve Holcomb.
Sam Mullet Sr., because people like to use the Amish as examples of separation. Well, Sam and several members of his family were given sentences that ranged from 1 year to 15 years. Why? Well, because Sam, as the leader, decided that some other Amish group members needed their hair cut. They said, no, we're not doing it. Sam and them did it anyway. Cops were called, and now Sam and a few others are in jail. Regulations reach further than people packing up and leaving. Now, I know what you mean when you say get back to nature. But how realistic is it, and for how many people could that become a reality? This is why I'm talking. And an even bigger question, which is the biggest question of them all, and that is, what about that modern way of thinking that you understand is swallowing up everything? How do you stop that? Rhetorical questions those were. Separate where? When you can clearly see that the thing that has you thinking we need to separate is coming. Name the place that you see or believe that the blob will leave untouched. Is it in the air? Couldn't be, because they have jets and radar up there. Is it in the ocean? Couldn't be, because they have ships and submarines patrolling. Is it on land? Couldn't be, because you see it invading everything. That's why you want to separate. Emissions, you want to burn some leaves and wood, regulated. Airspace, regulated. The sea, regulated. How fast your boat can go and what waters you can sail in, regulated. Globally regulated, but y'all teach this false sense of independence and fake idea of what freedom is.
The health code basically has been written to prohibit the sale of all kinds of things. You can't sell fresh juices any longer. I mean, they've gotten so involved in this ridiculous stuff. Basically, the question to be posed is, who is behind it ultimately, and what is the purpose? And these are the kind of questions that need to be posed, because it's not what one club was being rated compared to another one. We have what's called a digital laser-guided temperature gun here that actually looks somewhat like a gun. My question, which I have not posed to anybody, is, let's just say somebody had walked out one of our small walk-ins with that, faced at one of these guys with a gun drawn. Maybe, just maybe, the other person would have pulled the trigger. These foods that have now been made illegal, raw goat milk, raw juice, raw anything. I mean, especially raw products. I mean, you can't go to the Whole Foods and the farmer's market anymore because they're controlled by the health department. And those places can't sell unpasteurized juices, unrefrigerated eggs. They can't sell their own ceviche. They can't sell. I mean, the list is so ridiculous at this point that we had to form our own private membership club with a membership agreement that basically says once you pass the table just inside this small little lot that we have, you have to become a private member, taking your health into your own hands.
A group of Mid-South farmers is taking aim at a seed company tonight, accusing the company of selling them fake soybean seeds. The farmers say the company deliberately targeted them. And as WMC Action News 5's Brandon Richard now reports, the matter is now headed to federal court.
Well, in the lawsuit filed here in federal court, the farmers allege that an Iowa-based seed company targeted black farmers they met in Memphis.
A plot to ruin black farmers? That's one of the main allegations in a federal lawsuit filed against the Stein Seed Company. This group of farmers say Stein and their distributors, who they met at a Memphis convention last year, pulled a bait and switch and sold them fake soybean seeds.
These farmers then started to notice that their soybean crops were not developing at the rate that was commensurate to what these certified seeds should have produced.
Thomas Burrell is one of the defendants and president of an association representing black farmers. He says he had the soybean seeds tested at Mississippi State. He says the test confirmed their suspicions.
They planted 100 of those seeds and 0 of those seeds germinated.
But he says it's not just a matter of financial fraud.
These seeds now have become weaponized, and they are becoming now what is called, what we refer to as a blunt instrument that is being used to annihilate, eradicate, and wipe out the remaining few black farmers.
Look at the attacks on natural farmers. Rated like they're selling dope. Regulated. Farms being taxed out of business. But you isolationists, y'all not separatists, you're isolationists. But you isolationists, y'all have no regard or even the slightest concern with movement to change the law. You avoid of civic interest. You just think the thing is to run off into the wilderness. Nothing is wrong with your idea of living off the land and not being so much of a contributor to what's destroying this rock we live on. Nothing wrong with the concept, but in theory, yes. But in practice, y'all have lost y'all's minds to think you'll have millions living in the desert or in the forest somewhere. The devil wants it all, and there is no running away. Only a stand and fight will suffice. You're trying to make that fake seed thing out to be just against black people was false. Look it up. All kinds of people have been done like that, and in other ways with the attacks on farmers. They selling farmers fake seeds in other countries too. Imperialism is global. So this becoming a runaway as a solution is the problem that I have with y'all's idea.
Members of a remote tribe from the Amazon were murdered, according to the Brazilian Agency on Indigenous Affairs. In an audio recording obtained by the agency, gold miners bragged about the massacre at a bar near Colombian border, saying it was a kill or be killed situation. Joining me now to talk about this is RT correspondent Simone Del Rosario. Let me ask you this. First of all, what's the full story in this case, and how has it developed so far? Simone, where do you see this?
Well, Mike, Brazilian authorities are investigating reports, like you said, of a massacre. Up to 10 people that are from an isolated tribe in the Amazon. And this massacre was allegedly carried out by illegal gold miners in the area. This happened in the Havari Valley, which is the second largest indigenous reserve in Brazil. And it allegedly took place in August. Now, authorities only learned about it after these miners were caught bragging about it at a bar. They spoke about cutting up these people's bodies, throwing them in the river. The men also had a handmade paddle and a small bag that these tribesmen used for carrying food, and these gold miners claimed they took it from their victims. We're talking about a territory that is vast. The access to it is extremely limited. Now, because these tribes are uncontacted, you can't just swoop in and investigate, bring all of your law enforcement and authorities into the situation. It's a very precarious situation. It's going to require heavy involvement from Brazil's Agency on Indigenous Affairs, FUNAI, and as they work together with law enforcement to figure out if they can come up with these bodies to prove this alleged massacre.
Simone, is this a first of its kind, or is this becoming a pattern that we're seeing down there?
Well, according to the prosecutor in the region, this is the second case that he's seen this year, and before that, he had never seen a case in this region before. The first case that he saw happened in February of killing of uncontacted indigenous people. But just because he hasn't investigated cases before doesn't mean it hasn't happened elsewhere in the country and in South America. Earlier this summer, the UN warned that indigenous people in Brazil are specifically at risk. They noted the country has seen the highest offenders of any country in the world over the past 15 years. They were averaging 1 murder a week. And then you have your recent figures. They're even more startling. According to Land Pastoral Commission, because of land disputes, more than 50 people have been killed this year from January through July. That's compared with 61 all of 2016. That's indigenous groups, rural workers, and land activists that are being targeted here. And usually it is from these illegal gold miners or loggers, though in some cases, police and the government are to blame for the violence.
Yeah, we will discuss this. We need to separate things. Even take a look at something so pure sounding as getting back to nature. This idea of vanishing into peace and serenity by hiding in the woods or the desert. I asked, where won't the blob go? This is my problem with this separation as a solution. This silly idea of running off and hiding as a solution for a people.
The dusty village of Mbasani is an unlikely place to see a panther, but it was in rural Tanzania, right near the Serengeti, where I stumbled upon Pete O'Neill, a former member of the Black Panther Party.
That's us back in the day.
During the 60s, he was the head of the Kansas City chapter. He says he fled the U.S. to escape a government conspiracy.
You will recall that J. Edgar Hoover said that the Black Panther Party was the single most serious threat to the national security of the United States. This is what he said. So they were determined to stop us, destroy us. They were arresting us on the most mundane, silly charges, walking across the red light, selling papers without a permit, anything. They said that I had bought a shotgun in Kansas City, Kansas, and transported it across the bridge into Kansas City, Missouri, without a license. And on that one charge, they evolved that into 3 charges that would have resulted in my spending 15 years in federal prison.
Rather than fight the system, he and his wife Charlotte arranged for fake passports.
Charlotte and I made the decision, for me painful, I don't think it was so painful for Charlotte. We left, we went to Algeria with the international section of the Black Panther Party. I became the head of the international section of the Black Panther Party. In 1972, we moved here.
I don't have an issue with that. If you're so persecuted, then leave. So to be clear, my problem is that separation is not a solution for a people.
Yo, Reflection, this is going down right now. You see that? See dude right there with that gun? We at immigration. I'm gonna let y'all know the whole scoop this way. Reflection, listen to me very clearly. I don't got a lot of time. We are right now in the immigration van in Costa Rica, Limon, Costa Rica. You feel what I'm saying? The whole Melon Nation is in here. They starting to come around the van right now. Right now, they coming around the van right now, bro. All we want to do is be human, bro. They on paperwork. They want paperwork. This is what's going down. And then when he seen that he was white, he backed off. You seen that, Reflection? I got it on camera. We got it on camera. When he seen that he was white, he backed down. If I was black, he would have closed that shit. This is a race war right here. It's gotta stop right now, bro. We got an interpreter here.
Immigration officer.
Immigration officer, yes. He's an interpreter right now.
I need to speak with 6 people only.
It doesn't matter. We are one person. We are one person. We are one person.
Who speaks Spanish? Who speaks Spanish?
Nobody. Nobody speaks Spanish.
Immigration can under arrest 24 hours. If you want go today, you cooperate with me.
We don't want to cooperate. We don't want to cooperate with no corporation.
You go to the.
Now I don't need to calm down. You need to shut up. We're not moving. No, we're not moving. No. We don't care about being free. We care about being free.
If you don't want help of immigration, you're gonna be under arrest 24 hours.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We're willing to be in arrest for 24 hours. But listen, we move as one unit. We're not a part of the corporation of anybody. We're not a part of America. We're not a part of any of these corporations. And we're not gonna move. You're gonna have to use violence. You're gonna have to use violence to come on here and take us off this bus. We're not leaving. We're a unit. We're not leaving.
Only with the next people.
No, we don't know who these people are.
Okay.
We're not these people.
Eligio Big Show.
We don't know who that is.
Kennard Wright.
We don't know who that is.
Logan Leathers.
We don't know who that is.
Okay. Philip Goss.
No, shut up, Trevin. You don't know what it is. It's time to get it popping, nigga. It ain't time to be quiet. It's time to get it popping. It's not time to be quiet. Them names don't mean nothing. That's not our names. Those are the corporation's names. They belong to a bank. We don't belong to a bank. We belong to the earth. We belong to the earth. Don't speak nothing. No. Ain't no time to calm down. It's the time to turn up. Yo, open these windows. Open the window. They're trying to close the windows. They're trying to close the windows right now. They're trying to close the windows right now. We can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. He's trying to close the window. Did you see that?
I can't breathe. That sounded like it came from Babylon. Nature Boy and his cult calls America Babylon. There you saw him being detained in Costa Rica for not having a driver's license and no passports and whatnot. The same thing he'll describe us as being prisoners for here in Babylon.
Yo, this is crazy right now, yo. This shit is crazy. Where are they gonna have us at though?
Okay.
Where they gonna have us at?
The 5 person that coming with migration, they need to stay here.
Stay where? Stay where?
Where's here? ¿Los van a mantener aquí en el aeropuerto? No, los van a salir. ¿Los de ustedes? ¿A dónde los van a...? Ya, custodia, no sé cuándo los llevan. No saben dónde los van a... Los otros se quedan afuera. Lo que tenemos que ver...
They're taking us back to immigration? No, they're taking us back to the prison? No, we don't want to go to prison. We don't want to go back to the prison. Please, we already paid to get out of there. We don't want to go back there. No, we already paid to get out of there. The U.S. Embassy knows that we're supposed to come home.
Okay.
No, we don't want to go back to the immigration, no.
Philip?
No.
Philip?
No.
Okay, Philip, Eligio, Logan,
You're saying that you're going
Kenner, and Bevan. You need to stay to fight together with migration. You have flight tomorrow.
Yes, but you're going to but you're taking us back to the prison. We don't want to go back to the prison.
Did he sound separate from the Matrix? No. Deported and ended up back in here in Babylon for a little while as a result of the detainment in Costa Rica. This attempt to run from the law, this teaching that there is an escape instead of a fight is my problem with this separation solution. Even on the plane, international law in the sky also. And the point of me stating that obvious is to the whole idea that we need to separate, because the ones who say we need to separate are not talking about black people as in the population. They're talking about a few. 20, 25, 100 people going off somewhere, which is not a remedy to anything when it relates to black people. It's a private thing.
You stupid ass, your dumb ass over there talking about you about to give natural birth. Excuse me, your dumb ass over there talking about you about to give natural birth. Nigga, EJ got herpes, nigga. Your whole team got herpes. Matter of fact, let me play the clip. Pause it. Your whole motherfucking squad got herpes. And you talking about you about to give birth in the jungle. Nigga, you gonna give your babies herpes. What's wrong with you? So you willing to expose this baby to catching herpes cause you didn't want to admit that she got herpes, that y'all got? Nigga, now that we all know, do the right thing, bitch, and go have a proper birth delivery so that the baby's not exposed to herpes cause you over there fucking somebody else's girl and doing this, that, and the third with all the women that come over there. Now, before I go, let's play a video where Carbonation, a minimum of 3 members, admit that they got herpes before I give y'all my conclusion about where I believe the herpes came from. Let's play the video. Here we go.
To disease that had manifested in my physical body as what we would call the herpes virus, the simplex virus. I had caught this illness as a symbolic imbalance of the mental imbalance that I had going on.
He had told me that everything is in my mind. And I don't know if it was the words or it was the force of his words. But in that moment of our conversation, I was healed.
He healed her with his words.
The reason why I know that I was healed, because before I spoke with him, I had this odor on me. And I used to say this odor was an odor, a stench of death. Because it was fungus. Like my insides was like...
You know, when I was in Babylon, you know, before I came here to be with my soul family, Carbonation, I went to the doctors. I was dealing with a woman I was having sex with, and I was told that I had herpes.
I'm done.
They took Babylon with them, herpes and all. That's why I said that if I were the God that created this place, I wouldn't take a chance on humans existing. When they got pulled over in Costa Rica, they were on their way to the grocery store. And he had been stopped before for not having a license to drive.
Nature Boy says that child molestation is a spiritual experience for children, and it's a good thing. Listen to this sick, weird ass, bitch ass nigga. Listen to this nigga. Here we go.
You have physical sex with them. You are exchanging and activating genetics.
Listen.
A lot of people were molested as children, but for a good reason.
What? What good reason? What good reason? Now let's hear this nigga reason. Let's hear this nigga reason. Let's see what the Honorable Master Teacher's good reason for children being molested, okay, can there be. Listen.
What's up, bro?
Listen.
The reason why people were molested as children, although you look at it as something bad,
although we look at it as something bad, saying that we shouldn't look, that's insinuating that we should not look at child molestation as something bad. Let's play it back. Listen.
People were molested as children, although you look at it as something bad, I always equate it to a cake.
I'm done. I'm done. How you gon' this nigga gonna say, as though you look at it as something bad, bitch, how else should we look at child molestation? As something good? Where could you find the good in that? And then this nigga's reason, his great big reason, out of everything he said, his great big giant master teacher reason was because he equated to a cake. What you trying to say? People built in layers? Bitch, child molestation ain't gotta be one of them. This is the nigga that think he can fuck with me? But with that being said, you dirty, dick, ass, herpes, spreading allegedly ass bitch. Let me tell you something. You could never fuck with me, nigga. You a dirty ass nigga. You a perverted fucking pedophile. And in your mind, bitch, you still trapped back in when you was a little boy. And you over there doing everything to everybody that was done to you. You a sick motherfucker. And you need to go get some motherfucking help, bitch. Because part of me felt bad for even having to do this to you, because I know you out your motherfucking mind. Bitch, you need to come back to Babylon and go see a motherfucking psychiatrist. That's what the fuck you need to do. You's a fucking weirdo. You's a fucking bozo. You need to wash the fuck up. You need to wash your fucking hair and stop worrying about what the fuck is going on in Babylon, bitch. I don't even know why the fuck you on the internet, because there ain't no fucking internet in nature. So what the fuck is you even doing on the internet? Bitch, go eat an apple. Go eat a pear, or nigga, maybe more of your preference, go eat a fucking banana. Get the fuck out my face. Stop fucking talking to me. Stop fucking calling my name, or the next time, bitch, it's gonna be all kind of shit floating around the internet via out your camp and shit that you sent.
But he tries to trash people for us living in our mechanized Babylon. Everything about him is plugged into what he calls Babylon. His communications, he gets the dollar bills sent to him from Babylon, their clothes, everything is Babylon. The world is Babylon is what I'm saying, and there is no running away from it is what I'm saying. And this is my problem with the we need to separate thing. The hypocrisy in him is the same hypocrisy in the rest of the imitation separatists.
Hey! No! Hey! No! Hey! No! 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 Stop! 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 No! I love you. I love you. I love you too. I love you too. I love you too. Come on. Why are you insulting him? Why are you insulting him? No!
Not to try to put him down for his living situation. I've been there, done that. Slept in the car before. I've slept on a couple of people's couches. I've slept in a freezing cold garage. All that before. Been there, done that. I was a nefarious shade tree individual not to be trusted. I was back in the day. Same as Lex today. I've lived his life already. Been there, done that. So, not to put him down, but I need his situation to make this point. It's big. Now, there are people on here that have talked about why they put Lex out of their house. The last one was a lady named Anna Keck who took him in off the streets and had to put him out. I think that was in April or May of this year. Again, not to put him down for a situation, even though he deserves it. He deserves his situation. He earned it. But I bring it up because Lex, who has not been able to secure a stable living situation, started a crowdfunding campaign to purchase a property that he said he'll build a nation out of.
So the 5,000 lead is invincible, y'all. And I encourage, you know what I'm saying, encourage y'all to go ahead and get your stock in that company. It's a company. There's no way, no matter, the haters out there, there's no better program and no better setup. So they can come with the hate all they want because they hate Lex Vortex. They want to try to make, but it's invincible. There's nothing you can't stop the 5,000 elite. You can't make it illegitimate. It's legitimate. It's legitimate. You can ask the people that already signed up. All right, so that's number one. Number two, I have a GoFundMe in my description box called the Old Nation Land Grab, and it's for $8.5 million. Why was it for $8.5 million? Because I did a show, and I was showing people the available land out there, and I told the people I'm a big dreamer. And I said, I really don't believe y'all are probably going to do it, because if we was doing things that big, we probably wouldn't even have to have the conversations that we have now if people was really about it but like that.
The property up for sale for $8.5 million. That's y'all. Not specifically in being perpetually homeless, but in character and incompetence. Can't even secure a city block, but you're going to establish a nation, you say. And you folks who believe in their nonsense are the naive, gullible people that actually donated a total of $300 to Lex's fundraiser. That's y'all.
And when I tried to put in a plan there for black folk, they said it was racist for me to try to help black folk. They said, yes, Dr. Anderson, we admit in this town that we have an Asian town, a China town, a Pole town, a hockey town, a Cork town, a Mexican town, and a Greek town, but it's racist for you to try to do something for black folk, to build a black town. And I had over 1,000 blacks come across America and say, we will move and relocate our business to Detroit to build a black community, a black business district. We'll move our businesses into Detroit. Over 1,000 of them. And guess what? The town got scared and fighting. And they told black folks, no, we don't, it's racist for Anderson to come in and not include everybody and everything. And so that ended that effort. And so that's why Detroit failed.
How to put your foot in your mouth. Dr. Claude Anderson set to receive funding for a project that he called Blacktown, but tells city officials that he only wants black people doing business in this city-funded project. They say, get out.
Gangs, man? Hey, I'm fucking somebody else. Hey! What the fuck is this? Did you see this shit? I can describe all of them.
Please move to the side of the car and put your hands on the hood.
Why? What's with you guys?
You heard what he said, sir. Do it right now, please.
What kind of shit is this, man? Hold up. Wait a second.
They knew him and what he was about, but you can't openly tell them that you're going to discriminate with city money. And Dr. Claude knew that, but sabotaged it on purpose. And I say on purpose because a man as educated as he is would know that you couldn't tell them people that. Y'all come on here with that reckless hate speech, but you think that you'll be allowed to have a state? And yes, I said allowed because you're not going to take anything. I've heard a few of you say that you're going to take. But we understand that those are just inspirational words that you want people to feel. You're not going to take anything. Your mouths can be heard and seen coming from a mile away. Not even celebrities with bread to loan you would want to be found out financing y'all because they'll end up being blacklisted. Big persons or companies care about public opinion. They have departments or people in place to protect their image, especially when they say something stupid. They'll send people out to clean it up. Public opinion has destroyed many people, places, and things. But you folks don't care because you know you're not going to achieve no independent nation anyway. You know that you have nothing to lose and you conduct yourselves as such.
I've seen worse on YouTube.
But local law enforcement and federal agents heard enough when they say this Clayton County woman took to YouTube to make threats and call for others to kill police and white people in general and take over police stations. Channel 2 Action News was there when officers moved in to arrest her.
So I'm being arrested for what?
You said take over police stations.
Come on, on a YouTube channel? That's ridiculous to have me arrested for that.
Why she says she's harmless and why the chief says she's facing 2 felony charges.
Ed's attorney told the judge his client was
defending herself from someone who had threatened her, and she was exercising her rights to free speech. In the end, Judge Dallas said Ned's language was inciting and was more than an expression of free speech.
You show 2 police officers and say it's open season on killing cracker cops. Does that fix the problems that we have in this country? Or does it add to the problems that we have in this country?
Recklessness. This is another thing that makes these people fake and emotionally driven. Because if they respond to what I just said, their response will be, oh, you scared. So I look at the kind of people who sell this dream of separation. And I see that if they were legitimate in their desires, I see that they are dooming themselves before they even get 1 foot in the door.
Do you feel possibly something that Malcolm brought on himself then?
Well, he did bring all of it on himself. If he had stayed with us, following me, he would not have been dead today. He would have been a living man today.
You feel then possibly he was more interested in serving his own interests than a cause?
Well, I believe that he really wanted to be that which God had not made him to be. By telling other than the truth, it don't bring a person to no good end. So Malcolm met with just what he preached.
You saw that grinning little devil? You saw that smirk on his face? But they sell you this freedom just because the face is black. You have a classist mindset now. But don't think that there will be some in your nation that y'all would never build. Oh, we're not going to have this kind of black people in our nation. We're not going to have that kind of black people in our land. I've heard people say that there will be no pork in the land. No meat, no this, no that. There will be no weave wearing. I've heard it all. I've heard a few people say that if black people get land and separate, single mothers won't be allowed on it. I've heard it all. Y'all have the same mentality of Trump, who called dark countries shithole countries. He wants high-class people coming here, just like y'all talking about what kind of black people won't be allowed in your dream country. Total fantasy to believe that there will be no undesirables present. But that's part of the sales pitch of these black militant dream weavers. Look at the high and mighty-minded attitude y'all have right now, even though y'all don't have nothing. So imagine how even higher and mightier your minds will be if you did get your imagined black land. You call us Negropean and all kinds of stuff as if y'all are up there and we are way down here. So no, y'all are not talking about being free of anything. Y'all would be like dictators.
Back during slavery, you have to read the history of slavery to understand this. There were 2 kinds of Negroes. There was that old house Negro and the field Negro. And the house Negro always looked out for his master. The house Negro could afford to do that because he lived better than the field Negro. He ate better, he dressed better. If the master got sick, he'd say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" When the master's house caught a fire, he'd try and put the fire out. He didn't want his master's house burned. And he was more defensive of it than the master was. That was the house Negro. But then you had some field Negroes who lived in huts, had nothing to lose. They wore the worst kind of clothes, they ate the worst food, and they caught hell. They felt the sting of the lash. They hated their master. Oh, yes, they did. If the master got sick, they prayed that the master died. If the master's house caught a fire, they prayed for a strong wind to come along. This was the difference between the two. And today you still have house Negroes and field Negroes. Yeah. I'm a field Negro.
Mindsets like that, where y'all think that because you're an angry slave that you're better than the happy slave. Listen, as I've said for years, master's work gets done in the house and outside in the field. Smile or frown, just get the work done. So what your feeling about the situation is different. The only thing that will actually make you different is when you separate or remove yourself from that situation. House Negro, field Negro. So what? Both still slaves. And fear and guilt and promises are devices that y'all use. The white man is killing us here, and you love the white man. That's why you want to stay in his system. You're an integrationalist. Even though everything about y'all is integrated, including this future that y'all claim to want to create. Integrated mind, body, and spirit y'all are. And the separation and the talk of it is nothing more than a coping mechanism.
Move now to the disturbing moments caught on camera when a disabled man struggles to stay afloat in the water and teens nearby, they do nothing to help.
Yeah, he just got in and started swimming. You a fucking junkie. Get out the water, you gonna die. Look at that gator coming towards you, man. Buddy, we not finna help your ass. You shouldn't have got in. Bro, drowning, what the heck? Ain't nobody finna help you, you dumb bitch. Hell no, I ain't scared to see no damn person. You don't understand. That bitch is sitting everybody now. Oh, God. He just died. Stand.
That's the attitude there. The lake being representative of the United States. See, that's what y'all get for loving America. Every time something happens, police shooting a black man, black woman gets beat up in the Asian hair store, then it's, see, told you we should separate, as if. Speaking as if they are not in the same lake, as if they're somewhere else like those boys were. This is my problem with the we need to separate thing.
I'm going to find the happiness index for y'all. Everybody won't think I'm just talking shit. The World Happiness Report, that's what it is. World Happiness Report. Let's see. This is the actual report itself. Top 10 happiest countries in the world. Number 1, New Zealand. Oh, this is 2016. No, let's do that. 2018 or 2017. Okay, here. Happiness index. This is the last report that they did. These are the top 10. Finland is number 1. Norway second. 3rd is Denmark. 4 is Iceland. 5 Switzerland. 6 the Netherlands. 7 Canada. 8 New Zealand. 9 Sweden. And 10 Australia. You know where the United States is? United States is number 18, so they've actually moved up a little. Let me post that for you, since you don't believe me. So, if you go back, like, for the past 10 years, you're going to see Finland, Norway, Denmark, Iceland, and Switzerland, and the Netherlands dominating the top every single year for the past, I'm just going to say the past 10 years because I haven't gone back further than that. But for the past 10 years, those countries have been dominating in terms of the top countries in the world.
Haven't I told y'all for years that they try to paint this picture of a black Garden of Eden when they talk about this we need to separate? All of his examples were white/European. Just like slaves used to have to look up at the big house to get their idea of what freedom and happiness is. Let's hear his buddy who is part of their artificial separatist group.
So, because we're talking about dealing with a host country, we've talked about the fact that in some cases, well in the case of the host country we were thinking about, we know that there is corruption. Okay, it's actually at a very high level, and the only way it's really going to be able to mitigate the risk of people who are dealing with a country such as this for the first time, you will have to get in bed with certain organizations like OPIC, which actually protects against political risk. Of course. You're going to have to. And only because if you go over as a private interest and... No, you have to do it on a high level. I agree. I'm going to tell you exactly what happens. So if you go over the private interest group and they know that you have no government backing, what's going to happen is your project will get stalled with just reams of documents that are required. They'll lose shit, They'll give you excuses, and before you know it, you'll burn up 1/3 of your capital.
Get in bed with OPEC, he said. And who is OPEC?
We're riding through the Niger Delta right now. Nigeria's oil reserves are under us, so we're right at the center of Nigeria's oil production, and this is where oil theft is rampant.
Illegal oil refineries are buried deep in the creeks of the Niger Delta and are notoriously difficult to get to. Local oil businessman Don Wazaro helped us secure access to one under the protection of a paramilitary group that provides security for the oil thieves.
This looks post-apocalyptic out here. I mean, everything is burned to the ground. This entire town is black. Oh man, the smell of oil here is overwhelming. Everything's rotting. I mean, this entire town is covered in oil. What are these guys doing?
In simple terms, this is like the storage where it's cooked, it's processed.
That's the refining in there.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Nigerian military, they've taken care of this bit.
So these bush refineries were just lit on fire by the military. You can see two areas close by that are burning. The plumes of smoke are black and massive going into the sky.
As we found out for ourselves, operations to destroy illegal refineries are routine for the Nigerian military.
The civil defense forces just went in. It looks like they're firing at the militants in there. So they just arrested somebody. He was running the oil refinery right over here. These guys are all about to fire at this.
Hello. Empty. Position yourselves.
Okay.
As the government continues their assault on illegal refineries and barges carrying stolen oil, they're often met with retaliation from local militias. And one of the most notorious militias here is the Niger Delta Avengers. They attack pipelines and infrastructure, significantly affecting both the environment and the economy.
It's been incredibly hard getting any militants from the NDA to talk to us, but we've finally tracked a few down who agreed to talk to us as long as we conceal their identities. Why are you doing this? What do you want to accomplish?
We are sick and tired of this shit. I feed you, you get fat, you make money, you live large, and you keep me in a poverty stage. It's not possible. This struggle is not about me. It's all about the Niger Delta people.
Big oil companies destroying everything, including that continent of Africa they claim they want us to escape to. That little makeshift oil refinery are the results of companies like OPEC, along with the rest of the world's consumption of Africa. The environmental damage I showed you was small, a speck compared to what the big companies are doing, including the continental civil wars all over that continent. That little refinery is of the same mindset that these counterfeit black separatists have. A rat race. Aspirations to rape the place. But they still have the nerve to call Africa their motherland. Those African nations are dependent on oil. So how the hell could you be preaching independence while in bed with dependency? They'll be immune from the sanctions and tariffs and trade embargoes. It's the independence that they're selling with these fake desires of having our own nation. Let's hear more from the freedom fighters.
What about the black people who've already done this and were successful? Forget about Liberia in the 19th century. We built a nation. So in other words, there's no Robert Johnson who built a 4-star hotel on the coast of in Monrovia, Liberia. Okay, I guess that don't exist. There's the guy African Venture Partners who now has a hedge fund and just partnered with Richard Branson's and telecommunications group, who just built a $1 billion telecommunications and equity fund in Southern Africa and throughout West Africa, beaming satellite and and radio in Southern Africa. I guess that's not happening. You know, I guess Eugene Jackson building a mall and real estate and farms and everything, so that's not happening. The African Americans that are in Ghana are doing well and everything. You got a brother that basically owns his own mobile tech. We have our brother John Cashin who builds from Las Vegas, Atlanta and Las Vegas, who builds monorail trains in Nigeria. He built the Ikeja monorail line between Ikeja and Ogun State in Nigeria. I guess that's not really happening. You know, I guess all the people that talk about going to Africa are a bunch of buffoons and everything. And these brothers that go come and taking their skills, taking their MBAs and everything, and going to Africa making millions and everything. I guess that's not really happening.
I've heard that we need to separate things from 1,000 people. The ones who talk of going to Africa speak of obtaining Africa's resources. And resources is code for participating in the digging up and mowing down of that continent. It just means bling blinging. All he talked about was having stuff. He spoke of no liberation of that continent. Just wants to have pockets full of money, monorails and all else he referenced. No clean water for those without, no famine prevention, nothing. He only has visions of stuff. They're not selling independence. Everything he named has imperialism written all over it, including the lie he told about how Liberia was started by African Americans when really it was started by the United States government. Gaddafi wanted to separate after being in bed with them. And they said, okay, we'll be over there in a minute to talk about it. You know, iron out the details with you. I played that clip for those who think getting directly into bed with imperialists is a good idea and a way to independence.
Look. See. Look. Look. Say hi. Hi. Camera. Nice. SD. Kendall.
Same ones y'all call cave beasts and white devils are the same ones you let guide your desires for our future.
Okay, what would you say if I was to tell you that I was going to give you money for my little friend to come over here and just give you just one little friend to give you one Charlie horse? I'll give you like 20. I'll give you $25. Come on, it's one little Charlie horse. It's not even going to hurt. Not even going to make a dent. No bruises.
25.
Okay, 75 each.
Yeah, 75.
75. Come on. Now, okay, $100. That's it. That's my final offer. That's each. $100 each. One Charlie horse.
120 each.
No, $100. That's it.
All right.
All right. Okay, so I'm gonna go find my friend, Kimbo. Hey, Kimbo. Hey, have you guys heard of my friend? Have you guys heard of Kimbo before?
Yeah, that's a big boy.
Yeah, he may have done a little street fighting in his day.
Yeah.
Maybe he may be a professional.
Nah.
Who's first? Come on, who's first?
What's up, guys? What's up? Y'all want to do this? Yeah. Let's do this.
See how friendly he is? I trust you.
I don't want to hit your hand, right? You know?
Holy shit.
Call it out, dude.
Oh. Oh. Ow. Ow.
No, it's great. I ain't doing that. No.
Oh, come on. No, don't be.
The dark Africans will side with their allies in imperialism before they would with any black settlers. Y'all don't have those mountains of money they're interested in. So if you receive anything from them, it will be a mountain of debt, and you will be engaging in the various activities that is pillaging the place that you still have the audacity to call the motherland, while your plans are to help in raping her. There's no independence in what y'all speak. There's only a little spot on the bed with a devil. We're going to look at this idea they've been given about being independent.
I want to turn to politics and Donald Trump at the center of a diplomatic controversy. The president-elect turning decades of protocol upside down with his 10-minute phone call with Taiwan. The reaction pouring in, including from China. Needless to say, Beijing is not happy. The latest on the phone flap from ABC's David Wright.
Tonight, the 10-minute phone call with global repercussions. China.
What China's doing to us is horrible.
Having provoked China plenty out on the campaign trail, Donald Trump broke with 4 decades of U.S. foreign policy by speaking with his Taiwanese counterpart.
当前，国内外形势正在发生深刻，我国发展仍处于重要战略机遇期，前景十分光明，挑战也十分严峻。全党同志一定要登高望远，居安思危，永不僵化，永不停滞。体现一个中国原则的9·2共识，我们坚决一切分裂祖国的活动，我们有坚定的意志，足够的能力。
Like the Korean Peninsula, there is another Cold War flashpoint in Northeast Asia. The threat of conflict between China and Taiwan has not gone away either. This week, Taiwan's armed forces have been simulating what conflict could look like 8 years from now, when China's military will be much stronger. That Taiwan's military needs better weaponry is not in doubt, say experts. Its main defense supplier is the United States, and the Trump administration is now reportedly crafting a new arms package.
China's Air Force has conducted island encirclement patrols near Taiwan. Its military said, after a senior Chinese diplomat threatened that China would invade the self-ruled island if any U.S. warships made port visits there. China considers Taiwan to be a wayward province and has never announced the use of force to bring it under its control. Numerous Chinese fighter jets, bombers and surveillance aircraft conducted routine and planned distant sea patrols on Monday to safeguard national sovereignty and territorial integrity, Air Force spokesman Shen Jing said on the military branch's microblog. Taiwan Defense Minister Feng Shihuan said in a statement they had dispatched aircraft and ships to monitor the activity of the Chinese military and
China said, let me hear about you on the phone again with somebody, Taiwan, and we're going to blow y'all off the map. Call somebody up again. Let me hear about it. Let me hear about it one more time. Let me hear about you on the phone one more time. I played that phone call clip to point out what y'all's idea of independence is. Taiwan is a nation, but still under global regulation, just like the United States and other countries is, but these governed nations are y'all's examples of true freedom. Y'all's idea of becoming independent entails every bit of involvement with imperialism or what many call white supremacy. Y'all are not talking independence. You're talking about being black American imperialist. Du Bois and your other model states. The nations that y'all use as examples that y'all would like to follow are billions of dollars in debt. And this is not a solution for black people.
I'm greatly honored to host this lunch, to be joined by the leaders of Côte d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Ghana, Guinea, Namibia, Nigeria, Senegal, Uganda, and South Africa. We hope to extend our economic partnerships. Africa has tremendous business potential. I have so many friends going to your countries trying to get rich. I congratulate you. They're spending a lot of money.
We'll need loans, but don't believe that greed would be a factor. I saw all those African nations meet with Trump, but you think your loan dollars will be imperialist-free. And yes, you will be needing loans, permissions, and permits from existing governments who are already in league with imperialism, or what people call white supremacy. And therefore, y'all are not campaigning for independence of anything. You will be accumulating debt with people, places, and things, not independence. There's a dude on here. And he's not the only one, but I'll pick him because he's the most ridiculous. 50,000 square miles of territory, and that's a low number. I'll keep it low so it doesn't completely blow our minds while I'm talking, because the actual roundabout figure is nearly 1 million square miles. But let's keep it on Earth. So I'll isolate 50,000 square miles of land that he says black people need to take here on the United States soil. We live in a country here, America, that doesn't even like for nations to have their own nations. But these people think that one would be allowed to be established here, independent of the United States.
Of May 13th, 1985, Philadelphia police officers arrived at the headquarters of the Black liberation group known as MOVE. According to investigators, police arrived with a warrant for the arrest of several MOVE members. The charge? Disorderly conduct. However, MOVE members claim police officers arrived only to eliminate the organization altogether. I spoke with Ramona Africa, one of the two survivors of the 1985 bombing. She says the MOVE headquarters was attacked by the city of Philadelphia.
They decided, they were going to fire rounds. According to them, they fired over 10,000 rounds of bullets in there within the first 90 minutes.
Moments later, seen high in the sky from this NBC video used later as evidence in court, a state police helicopter dropped a bomb on MOVE's headquarters, obliterating their row house and destroying 60 other homes and the inferno that followed. In the end, 11 members were killed, including MOVE's leader, John Africa, 5 other adults, and 5 children under the age of 13.
The excuse they used to invade the place was the complaints from the people in the surrounding area who were complaining about the stench from the trash, the feces, the sanitation violations. Their compound stunk up the neighborhood. Well, you folks who try to sell this thing y'all describe as having our own land, where we're in control of our own land. And I also played that clip for y'all who sell this belief of being outside of the United States laws. There is no running.
High school dropout and wannabe rock singer, David Koresh now has a new ambition. He claims to be the son of God. The Branch Davidians believe the apocalypse is coming, and they are busy stockpiling illegal weapons, including AK-47s. Worried about the amount of guns the cult are accumulating, the ATF decide to raid the compound. So confident are they of success, agents nicknamed the raid Showtime. But Koresh and his cult members are expecting them.
They knew that the ATF was coming. They had all taken their battle stations. They had more powerful weaponry.
It was very, very disturbing.
4 ATF agents are killed in the raid, and 5 Branch Davidians.
They have no experience. They're city people with no experience at all, growing and gathering and living off the land. They're grocery store shoppers on the internet talking about sustaining a population of people living off the land. I've seen people come on here with a few plants growing in their windowsill, and from there they'll talk like they're farmers living all natural. saying that the rest of us need to do that, even though the majority of us are renting with not enough space to grow food, and neither do they, but they'll show you plants in their window or in their small yard like they're living off the land or something.
I have to say this because I know our spirit and our emotions get stirred. I'm not against nobody on the panel. I agree with everything my brother said about revolutionaryism. So let me ask you guys a few questions. We're in the South. We're in the heart of the South right now. Who fishes? Who knows how to fish? Hands down. Who knows how to hunt? Less hands. Hands down. Who shoots on a regular basis, meaning once or twice weekly? Hands down. Now you see how many hands? Who farms or grows their own food right now? Hands down. You ain't ready to oppose nothing. You are as a part of this system as any white person gentrifying in this city. And you can't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about because I've lived in this neighborhood long enough to know when 2 out of every 5 yards had a garden in the back. I'm old enough to know when the Muslim community was the strongest security force and their own food force in this community. Black people, I love you, and I love you enough to tell you, you ain't ready to revolt shit. You don't feed yourself. You don't hunt your own animals and slaughter them. You don't prepare your own meat. You don't own your own land. You don't have a seed growing in your window. So when you think about revolutionaryism and you think about fighting and dying in the street, you ain't shit if you can't feed your children. You ain't nothing if you can't teach your children to hunt. I've been hearing this revolutionary talk all my life.
Like Killer Mike just did. That's why I be asking, who are y'all? We need to separate people who have no experience, especially when it comes to agriculture, to sustain the people. You go to the grocery store to get all or the bulk of your stuff. But you get on here talking like the rest of us are stuck in the Matrix. This is another version of their separation from America. And that's why I say that y'all have lost your minds. And when crazy people speak on plans, it makes the plan itself look stupid. The separate in America people. Oh, you want integration. All of them have that theme where they tell people that to try to make it seem like they're against an integrated society. Even though they're integrated from the clothes that they wear to the language that they speak, integrated from head to toe, inside and out. But the thing is to separate verbally. That's how they've separated. Oh, you want integration. These are the separation from America in America people.
You can never whip these boys if you don't keep you and them separate. I found that out in Birmingham. You've got to keep the white and the black separate.
That was the infamous Bull Connor. If you don't know him, then you don't know the civil rights movement. But this we need our own so we can be in control of our own. It's like people who believe in the Bible. Tell them, I don't believe in your God. And they're like, you don't believe in God? Like, no, I didn't say that. I'm not an atheist. I said I don't believe in the Bible. Then it's, how can you believe in God if you don't believe in the Bible? You know, like there's only one God is how the separation is the only solution people act. They reject any and all that has to do with here. They trash protesting, going to court, and all else. Like Bible believers that don't get how somebody wouldn't believe in their book. When their book has a talking donkey in it, though. The same talking donkey that these folks are who can't understand why their far-fetched ideas about separation gets rejected.
Episcopal Church, known as AME, have accused the church leadership of stealing their pension contributions. They allege that some retired pastors have yet to receive their pension payouts. Some have even died. Today, they marched to the church's Johannesburg headquarters to submit a memorandum of demands.
An unlikely call by unlikely people, pastors, reverends, and bishops, accusing their church leader of submitting only half of the annuity contributions to a pension scheme.
The first time I knew there was trouble with the money, we were at the conference when everybody queried, when he said there was no money.
Close to retirement, is 63-year-old Reverend Mtunzi Mzangwa. He's been serving for over 4 decades.
I don't want to be an added statistic. I know our brothers have gone by, and some of them are not paid even now.
This one dude on here, well, actually, it's many like him, but he's setting up chapters like First AME, you know, where all the smaller churches are under the banner of AME. And he speaks like he's doing something new, when actually he's on the late bus, because a lot of the Black Power groups have chapters set up all over the country and in various places abroad, and their followers tithe. But this guy's listeners seem to not have heard him say plenty of times that he plans to receive money from people every month for this nation his group will never see. You extra Black Power people, you'll sit on 2-week suspension after getting flagged and come back when YouTube tells you you can. You'll sit in what people call Facebook jail for however long, 30, 60 days, I don't know. But they put you on punishment and you stay there waiting to be set free. Leave YouTube and go be all black somewhere, is what I'm saying. And I know you'll say that spots like YouTube are where the black people are and you need to reach the people. Every excuse under the sun. Well, I say America is where black people at. But you pretend you want to leave people behind. Left behind because only a single grain of sand on the beach will you be able to convince to leave. Y'all say we need to separate, but y'all won't get off these non-African owned sites, even though there's Black Spot and Black Junction. Y'all have like a dual passport, a dual citizenship. Members of these black places, but won't separate from this integrated YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all else. Daily Motion, all that. But you say we need to separate from America, but can't separate from websites. Y'all kill me talking about making all these big black moves, but not willing to take even the smallest step. You talk about the mindsets of us, and we love America, and we love integration, and we love living with our oppressor, as if you're not the same way. If what y'all saying is true about us, get off YouTube, Facebook, and other sites. Move to black places and stay there.
Emanuelson is a rare conservative. He's honest. And that's probably because he's not an elected official. He's a Texas Tea Party activist. And he was talking about black voters and whether Republicans want them to vote or not. And here's what he said.
What are the Republicans doing to get black people to vote?
Well, I'm going to be real honest with you. The Republican Party doesn't want black people to vote if they're going to vote 9-1 for Democrats.
The most honest thing a conservative has ever said. Okay. And look, we've shown you the clips from actually all the way back in the early 1980s when the leader of the conservative movement at the time, who set up the Heritage Foundation, etc., said, we don't want more people to vote. We want less people to vote. The more people that vote, the more likely it is for Democrats to win. And especially if they're African Americans and now Latinos, gays, Muslims, and all the other groups that they have grossly offended through all of their actions. So do the Republican Party want to discourage black voters if the black voters are voting 90% Democrat? Of course they do. You'd have to be crazy to deny that. But of course, somebody pulls them aside and says, whoa, Ken, listen, man, you're in a political realm here, and you have to understand, this is a no-truth zone.
My problem with this solution is that it goes back to what I've repeated 1,000 times. These black power people will come up with every kind of movement under the sun except for a political or civic movement aimed at changing the social dynamic of this country. They avoid and run from that at all costs, and I've told people that you should be highly suspicious, more than suspicious of that. Civics govern this place, but they'll come up with every idea that is out of the way of those civics. Haven't seen a movement aimed at changing public policy in over 50 years. Wonder why that is. This we need to separate stuff is another part of that avoidance. You need to wonder about that. These folks have knowingly and unknowingly COINTELPRO. J. Edgar Hoover's children here to stop the rise of black people. This government never wants to see what it saw 5 decades ago. The kind of people that perpetuate this idea of separation is an issue for me. For one thing, their delusion of detachment from the system. Their disregard for civics. Don't vote. This is the white man's society, not ours. You can't change America. We need to separate. Politics don't work and has never done nothing for black people. Every single thing about their thought of being separate will involve the current governing authorities of this country, especially for the ones who say they want to establish independent trade and commerce. Because monies that go from here to there will be regulated by this country. Policy will have eyes inside and outside of their pockets, but they'll suggest that we pay no never mind to the changes in the system. Who cares who the president would be or the mayor or the governor though, right? This is how gone they are. But it's their solution.
Peace to all, fear of none. This is Yasin Bey. At this present time, I am currently in Cape Town, South Africa, and I'm being prevented from leaving unjustly, unlawfully, and without any logical reason. They're saying that they want to deport my family. They're making false claims against me. Some of these government officials, even in the press, are making false claims against me, saying that my travel document that I was traveling with is fictitious, which it is not. Anyone can do the research about the world passport. It's not a fictitious document. It is not meant to deceive or derive unlawful benefit from any nation state at all. In fact, the world passport has been accepted here on numerous occasions in South Africa, in ports, Johannesburg, and Cape Town, as early as 1996 and as late as 2015. You can see the stamps. I just want to go home, and I don't live in America, and I have a right to domicile wherever I please, without fear or without interference. The state of South Africa has interfered with my ability to move or to even fulfill my professional obligations unnecessarily. And that's fine. We don't have to be enemies, and we don't have to be friends either. My family and I are prepared immediately to make whatever move that we need to make outside of this state, never to return to this state again. We don't have to be here. We're not pining to be here, and we're complying in every possible way, reasonably. Just today, state officials visited my domicile asking questions about me and my family, and they had no right to do so. I have legal representation here who they can easily contact. They're contravening and breaking all type of international law.
Go most deaf yourselves. Forced to be an African. Talked all that anti-American speech, rapped about it and all, but cried when he wasn't allowed to come back and make a few dollars. South Africa said, look, you've been here in our country illegally, and we know about it, but think you're going to go back and forth now? I don't know what his situation is these days, and I won't even bother to check because the point remains. He whined about not being allowed back here with this oppressor. But he did leave, though. Not just running his damn mouth like y'all do. Go. But as you heard, still, even outside of America, there's this thing called law that you cannot run away from, which is what y'all try to tell people we can do. Look at these shackles. With the we need to separate people. Y'all on here yelling at us on the chain about how much we need to get free and how we're slaves in love with our master for not wanting to get off the chain. And all this is done while the want to separate Negro is on the same chain. The we need to separate Negro claims to have the key and the escape route, but will not escape off this chain. Get off the chain before you can be on here yelling at us for not wanting to get off the chain. Show us how free you became after you escaped the chain. But you're not going to do that. You'll just continue to sit here thinking that you're different because you think of being off the chain. And this is my problem with your solution.